shit. Scoliosis! Today we're going to be doing some myofascial release. So, you're going to need some myofascial release balls. I have my scolioprops. You can get these at scolioprops.com, or you can use a lacrosse ball, cricket ball, tennis balls are like okay, but not ideal. You want it to be quite firm. And ideally you have a bigger ball and a smaller ball, because the smaller one is better for your feet. But just grabbing what you have. We're going to go over myofascial release. We're going to talk about what fascia is. We're also going to talk about sleep with scoliosis. I'm going to go over some sleeping positions for some different curve types and just give you a couple little tips when it comes to that all important sleeping. First, let's talk about myofascial release and what that is. Your body is covered in this tissue called fascia. It runs over your muscles, through your muscles, around your organs, kind of like the pith, the white stuff in an orange. Like if you imagine an orange, how that white stuff kind of covers it and runs through it. Fascia runs through your body like that as well. You have fascia lines that connect from your head and like come like all the way through the front of your body. They come down the back of your body. You got the spiral line that crosses over the body. I really do recommend looking into fascia a little bit more. I could talk about it for ages, but again, I don't want to make these videos too long. But fascia is very, very important. It really can be affected very greatly by our scoliosis, and when we do our rolling, it just helps to release tension in those tight knotted areas, helping us to improve the mobility of our fascia, get some blood into those areas, helpful for the muscles as well. When it comes to scoliosis, obviously we have convex and concave sides. I recommend rolling the concave side, so the tight compressed areas, before your scoliosis corrective exercises, because that's going to help actually open and expand into the concavities during your corrective exercises. It also helps to send blood to those muscles and connect your brain to that area of your body, because the concavities tend to be quite numb and sleepy. So myofascial release of those areas is going to be really, really good for waking them up and getting them ready to move, which is what we want with our scoliosis corrections. I recommend rolling your convexities only if you're feeling a lot of pain in the area, because myofascial release can be a really great temporary pain release tool. I don't recommend rolling your convexities before scoliosis corrective exercises, because the convexities are already open, they're already overactive, and when we roll that, we're going to make them more open, we're going to make them more overactive. So that's just not something that I would recommend, especially before corrective exercises, and I wouldn't recommend rolling them on a consistent basis. We're going to go over that. I'm going to do a little roll against the wall behind me. We're also going to roll our hips, which is our glute medius area, and our feet as well. So let's get into it. Let's start right at the top and work our way down. With your ball, it's best to use a wall behind you. Let's start at the neck and the shoulders. So the neck and the shoulders, I like to do both sides. You're kind of taking the ball, rolling it along the top of the neck, rolling it along the top of the shoulders. You know, if someone was about to give you a shoulder massage, you're kind of doing that now, but with the ball. And you can see I just have my feet out in front, kind of standing in a funny position, but leaning back onto the wall. I'm moving the ball around in little circles, going quite slowly, and just seeing how it feels, rolling from one side to the other. This is great to help release tension in our neck and our shoulders, which can be so tight with scoliosis. So I recommend spending about 2 minutes rolling across your shoulders and your neck, but you can choose whatever feels good for you. Then I'm going to roll my concavities. So I'm going to start in the thoracic area and get the ribs and along the spine, and just all of that concave area. Obviously my concavities are different to yours, so You can play around rolling your concavities, you can even roll your convexities and just feel the difference. But obviously the concavities are the major part that we want to focus on. So it's always good to just roll those babies, those tight areas. I do thoracic and then I come to lumbar. So with the lumbar one, it's a lot more difficult to get, but I'm rolling the ball kind of across the top of the hip. All of the tissue and the fascia in that area are very tight. So it's a great tool to just loosen up across the top there. And you can just experiment with what feels good for you. Then we can take the ball to our glute medius, and that is this muscle down the side of the body here. So for this one, I turn to the side, pop the ball against the wall, and you're going to roll it kind of around your hip joint and around the side of your glute. So your glute max is the big bum muscle, your glute medius is the one down the side here. And the glute medius is really, really important. It helps a lot with stability in our pelvis. It has a lot of effect on the lower back. So I love rolling the glute medius, especially if you're feeling lower back pain. I think this is going to be a great tool for you. I'm just enjoying this. I'm like, I could do this all day, but let's try the other side. So same thing. You're going to turn to the side, pop the ball into this side area, and just rolling around. As you're doing this, be aware of your scoliosis. Try not to slump into your curvature. Make sure that you're doing it, you know, against a firm surface, not like a door that could swing open at any moment. Be aware of that. And just notice, like, does one side feel tighter than the other? Oh, feels good. We love it. Good. So that's just like a little release of the hips, the spine, the shoulders. Oh my god, it just feels instantly so much better. Then we're going to do the feet. So I'm just going to grab my smaller ball, but if you already have a big ball, that's okay. We're going to start on the sole of the feet. So the kind of this part. And you're just going to gently roll the ball, like little circles, maybe up and down. And this might be painful, you know, it might be painful, but that's okay. Your feet are so important. So many fascia lines connect through the bottom of your feet. So rolling your feet can affect everything up the chain of your body. It is all connected. So it's important not to neglect your feet. And that's why I'm always talking about having your strong arches as well, not letting your arches collapse, because it affects everything. It affects the muscles, the fascia, the joints, your spine. So once you kind of roll along the ball of the feet, you can get, I like to get across like the knuckle of the foot, where the toe bones, the toes meet the foot, to put it simply. And then like to the toes. So for the toes, I will spread my toes nice and wide just over the ball and get the sole of the foot down, and actually sometimes flex into my knee. So getting some flexion through my big toe, flexing into the knee, and spreading the toes nice and wide. Feels great. And then switching over to the other side. So same thing, I just kind of start with the sole of the foot, getting in and around there. It always feels a little bit just it's not comfortable when you first start, but it does get better with practice. And if this is really painful for you, like, you know, maybe it's a sign that you should be doing it more. Then you can get in around the knuckle of the foot. And then the toes, where you're just spreading the toes around with the ball. And you can get that big toe into flexion, push the foot down, and bend into your knees a little bit. And be aware of what your scoliosis is doing the whole time you're here, you know? We're not collapsing into our curves whilst we're doing this. We're trying to keep ourselves up nice and tall. Think about your neck, your posture. Ugh. Trying to keep that neck back. And yeah, this is just a great little tool. I really recommend rolling your feet, especially if you're a runner or you're about to go on a long hike or something like that. It's just a great tool to get some mobility into your feet, your toes, your ankles, your knees. It's going to be a great way to help improve the mobility and reduce any potential pain that you might get. I recommend doing all of this before your corrective exercises, maybe if you're going to the gym or a workout class, or if you're just feeling really tight. If you're feeling tight, if you're in pain, it's a great tool that you can do at home to help your scoliosis, your body, yourself. You don't have to go anywhere. All you have to do is have the right equipment. So again, these are the Scoli props. This one says Scoli props on it, and then it says love your spine. And then the little one's just got a little spine on it. So they're cute, purple, and fun, and just perfect for what it is that we're trying to accomplish with that. Okay, that's my fascial release. Let's talk about sleeping positions with scoliosis. Well, welcome to my bedroom. Let's talk about those sleeping positions. So I'm just going to start by saying, focus on sleep more than how you're positioning yourself with your scoliosis, because sleep is so much more important than your sleeping position with your curves. So don't worry about this too much, but I get lots of questions on it all the time, so of course I'm going to go over it. One of the best ways to sleep, which I don't personally love, but this is just what the shock therapist told me, is lying down on your back with a pillow underneath your knees. The pillow underneath your knees helps to reduce any tension in your lower back as you're sleeping. Of course, it is hard to lie like this for 8 hours. I mean, unless you're Dracula or something, you're probably going to wriggle around, and that's why I find this whole sleeping position thing quite challenging. So, ideally when it comes to when you're lying on your side, it is best to lie on the side of your biggest concave side. So for example, I have two curves. My thoracic curve is bigger than my lumbar curve. So I sleep on the left side, which is the biggest, where I have my biggest concavity. So let's just I'll show you an example. I also will sleep with a pillow in between my legs, and I'll hug the other one. I'll show you this on the other side. But for a right thoracic curve, so right thoracic is going to come up like this. When you're sleeping, gravity is going to help to pull that curve down to center line. So it's just a better way to sleep than if I was to sleep on this side. My right thoracic curve is going to sink into the ground. But it really depends on where your biggest curve is, and if both of your curves are equal, then just sleep on both sides equally. And so what I do to help with the rotation of the pelvis, so instead of like being like this or like twisted, it's better to put a pillow in between your legs. And so that's going to help with the stability of your pelvis. But you can also cuddle a pillow, and that stops the kind of rounding forward with your shoulder like this. So that's just little tips. You've got to know your curve and where your biggest concave curve is. You want to sleep on the side of your biggest concave curve. And I guarantee someone is going to ask me a question: what side do I sleep on? The biggest concave side. And if you have two equal sides, equally sleep on both. Lying on your front. So I know we all love to sleep like this. Oh, so comfortable. But it's the worst way to sleep for scoliosis, because it's causing extension through our ribcage. So that means we're in a back bend when we're here, and that can push us more into our scoliosis curve. It's going to cause more flare through the ribs. It's not going to be good for our posture. Yesterday when I was talking yesterday or 2 days ago, when I was talking about the lordosis that we have through the thoracic spine due to the rotation of the rib cage. This can promote more rotation in that rib cage. Also, when you're lying like this, you're twisting into your neck in a funny way, which, you know, it's not going to be good for our scoliosis at the end of the day. But, you know, like I said, just find a comfy way and focus on sleep. I'll be honest, I sleep on my front. I sleep on my front. I sleep on my right side, even though I should sleep on my left. Oh, Sally the seagull's got some opinions again. I just focus on sleep. So don't stress yourself out too much about it. Find a comfortable position and try and just get a good night's sleep. People, you can prop. If you want to prop, if you want to go down that route, by all means, prop underneath your convexities. Prop underneath your convexities. Prop underneath your convexities. That is very important. But those props, it's very likely that they're going to wriggle around and move, and it's very hard to just keep them there. So Christmas hat didn't survive that, I don't think. So that's going to conclude today for Scolimus. I hope that helped, and I will see you tomorrow.